Hey, 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 happy Friday.
Hey, hi, welcome everyone. Nice to
Different,
have you joining us.
different Friday than we thought. Just had some technical problems with the whole documentary with John Zeka thing. We would have been able to go on, but we didn't want to take a chance of going, can we do this? Can we not do this? So in the morning, John gave me a call and we talked about it. I said, maybe we should, let's put it off for a week. And, and here we are talking about opening bands that blew away the headliners.
Ooh.
You already got a lot of stuff.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I've got quite a bit here. Brian Cochran. I saw a just breaking out band called Guns N' Roses open for Aerosmith in the '80s and just blow them out of the water. I mean, it wasn't even close. We were blown away.
It was so great back then. Of course, the big festival they played last weekend, a lot of folks were going, what happened? Oh no. What happened to them? Oh, I guess you get old and kind of lose your edge.
Randy McLaughlin says, I hope your list has Mother's Finest on it from Atlanta. They tore up the East Coast in clubs, then blew away the likes of Ted Nugent, Aerosmith, and many more. A band that cannot just have one genre.
Wow. So many bands. See, for me, I always say the same thing. It's always Iggy Pop opening up for the Pretenders. And Pretenders were great. But man, Iggy Pop's the best performer I've ever seen in my life. And I'm not really the biggest Iggy Pop fan. I mean, I admire him and what he's contributed, but as a performer, no one's touched him.
David Smith, Rage Against the Machine opening up for U2 back in 1997 is on fire.
I appreciate everyone giving us their, the thing we tried to do with Friday Night Live is, of course, right, of getting your point of view. Getting your point of view, not just me saying, hello in 75, Golly G. Willikers. I'm a big St. Bernard. But what?
Fraser J. covers. Hey, Fraser J.
Hey, Fraser
I know
J.
about opening buttons that blew away shirts. John? Ha ha. Hope the Bobby Kimball episode goes great next Friday, guys. Great idea having live guests as well. I think it's a nice change.
Yeah, I think we're gonna start doing that. The video, the trailer, by the way, in its current state, not sure where it's going to be on, they're going to make any changes to it, because John is always changing things to make it work more seamlessly. But there's a really cool thing he does. You'll see it in the trailer next week, where when Steve Lukather talks, there's a little thing that comes right here on the side of the screen that says Steve Lukather Toto, and it mentions people he's played with. And it's a younger version of everybody. And Simon Phillips is on there. All the Toto people are on there. Greg Fillinganes is on there. But anyone, Jason Sheff, Bill Champlin, I've seen the whole thing. I've got it in this computer. I would love to show it to you.
I have to interrupt you. I'm really thrilled. What does it look like who we might be interviewing the next coming couple weeks?
Oh, I don't know if we can go there.
We can't yet?
I don't think I can.
Okay, then surprise, we say nothing.
I don't think I can.
Trajan, 69, saw a guy named Bob Seger in the Silver Bullet Band open up for BTO in 1975 on Cobo Hall, Detroit. Both were great. It was like two great major acts. Seger then broke out worldwide.
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, when Main Street came out, that song, and he was doing the more bluesy stuff before that. God, I love that stuff so much. And after that, he got a little bit more pop, then went back to his roots, and he just had an unbelievable career. Speaking of BTO, of course, Randy Bachman just announced that BTO are getting back together, doing 2 shows. And so far, like I said, it's only 2 shows. They're testing the waters, but the reaction has been crazy. I don't know if anything came out today because I've been busy editing videos for our Patreon account. But it looks like, according to an insider, that it's going to be Randy Bachman and it'll be Tal Bachman as another member of the BTO, of the Bachman family. I don't know if Fred Turner will be there. I've always heard there's bad blood between Blair Thornton and Randy. I don't know if that's true. So I don't know who the drummer will be. Will it be from the Randy Bachman band? I don't know, because the other 2 Bachman brothers just died.
Rick May. Hey, Rick, greetings from Ohio. Finally, good news. Wackman Turner Overdrive is back. Hit that like button, folks. Yes, please. We so appreciate everybody being online with us. But if you can hit that like button. I know we always say this, but it really helps with our algorithm.
It does help.
We so appreciate it.
Yeah, and we're and a lot of people are liking us. Thank you very much. Oh, we had 1 thumbs down.
Oh.
Ooh.
Hopefully they've hopped off then.
I blame my shirt right off the bat. You
Jen-
ever notice? Before you go on, I gotta say this. I always forget to say it. Notice how the current colorful shirts for men, and not everyone wears them. I certainly do. I love colorful shirts. But notice that all of them look like your mother's kitchen curtains from the 70s.
Well, I don't think this one does.
I think it does.
Very
I think it really does. But I love color. I like it.
Janet Langdon, great topic. We thought so. These
Thanks.
amazing places. Red Rider opening up for the Kingston Veterans Memorial, Columbus, Ohio, 1980. Ray Davies was so annoyed with Red Rider's opening performance that he refused to play Lola in the show. Yeah.
La 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 la. That it's got to be a humbling thing but it has to happen on a more frequent basis than you think. That you've got this new band trying to prove themselves, and they're playing, like crazy people, like they're on the mountaintop during a thunderstorm.
Cal Vid, I bought tickets for Black Sabbath at the LA Forum in 1971, but I was blown away by the opening act. Yes, I only heard Roundabout on KLOS 95.9 FM LA radio. Heard Heart of the Sunrise, first time live.
Oh, cool. Oh, I love Yes. And I've been mentioning this. I've been going back for months now, listening to their earlier stuff. Stuff that I didn't know, but stuff that I knew because all my friends were pretty big Yes fans.
Neutral 69, Tammy C. Hey, John. Hi, John and Shannon. Darren. Hey, Darren. Rick May. They're talking to each other. James Bashir is happy Friday from Dogtown Road, Shannon. John, hope you and family are doing well. We are, thank you. Robert Shuley, Cheap Trick opening for Foreigner, both on their second albums. Bradley Fieldhouse in Peoria.
Yeah, Peoria. The Cheap Trick really in the beginning always seemed like they had something to prove. When they were on stage, they were like a lightning bolt. I never saw them. I had a friend, Tom, passed away a few years ago. Tom, hope you're watching us. He was probably the biggest Cheap Trick fan I've ever seen. And he would come up with, in the 90s, he would come up with all this stuff he'd show me. Hey, look at them here. We got this film. I said, it's really bad quality, like bootleg stuff, but he loved Cheap Trick.
Neil, all at the old Boston Garden. Golden Earring blew away Aerosmith. Blue Oyster Cult blew away Black Sabbath. Van Halen blew away Black Sabbath.
Well, remember we were asking some of the worst bands in concert you've ever seen, which was a popular topic, but Aerosmith won that night. Remember? So many people were coming forward saying Aerosmith was probably the worst band they've ever seen.
Oh, right.
Remember that?
Yeah, that seemed to be really consistent in where the...
I was surprised, but I knew that, they were going through stuff, especially after when you talk about Rocks, Night of the Ruts, especially Draw the Line, after Rock, they were going through stuff.
Jay Young, Mason Prophet opened for Sha Na Na in 1972-73 in Oklahoma City Civic Center. Both bands were well received, but MP flat.
Oh, wow, cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Spacey, good evening. Hi, Spacey. John Patterson, good evening. My Canadian homies. Oh, I like that. Darren says, my brother Steve saw Iggy Pop a few years ago with Queens of the Stone Age as support act. He liked the whole concert.
Oh, cool. Iggy, I don't know, man. To me, he was like 20 cups of coffee. He was like, wow, I don't know how he does that. Of course, he wasn't wearing a shirt, and he's cut like you wouldn't believe. It's just, there's not an ounce of fat on him. But interestingly, I interviewed, what was the producer's name? Oh, God. Sometimes if I'm not familiar with the producer, and I'll interview him, get familiar with the producer, research the producer, a 90s producer. He said he worked with Iggy Pop, and Iggy was completely different off stage. Completely different. He would spend about 5 minutes turning into Iggy Pop, and then he'd go on stage. I went, wow.
Douglas Struthers, Christopher Cross didn't blow away Fleetwood Mac, but played superbly Buffalo in 1980.
Yeah, it'd be kind of hard, I would think, even though people pigeonhole artists like Christopher Cross, where that you're just going to get like the soft stuff. I mean, maybe Air Supply would be more of an example of that, but And then they come up and you go, oh, their hits became, the soft ones became the hits, but they actually have other songs.
Mike M. Rat opening for Billy Squire was a bad idea because Rat absolutely owned the stage.
Wow. Yeah,
Uh,
Billy Squire.
I'm a Peach One says hi, y'all.
Hi, y'all.
Record Hound, hi John and Shan. Legend has it that the Who wiped out almost every 60s and 70s band they were billed with.
The energy of a Who show. You know, I remember remember the Toronto farewell show in the 80s, near the 80s, Maple Leaf Gardens. And I remember I taped it on a cassette. And I remember I hadn't heard Eminence Front, you know, one of the newer songs. And they use it on commercials all the time. I remember just being blown away. And I'd never seen the Who. I've never seen the Who. Chase saw the Who, but I never have.
Steve Taxian,
Chase our son, by the way.
Peter Frampton opening for the Guess Who, and at the end of the tour, he was the headliner.
Oh, things change.
Right?
Majorly.
Shows
Majorly, yeah. Talk about a guy overnight.
James Bashir says, shamelessly promoting, I'll be celebrating the 29th anniversary of my 39th birthday 2 weeks from today. Hey.
Congratulations.
Yes. Michael Soldau, I saw you two open for the Jay Giles in 82 touring in support for the October album. Jay Giles was touring in support of their most successful album, Love Stinks, and you two still blew them off the stage.
Jay Giles was a strange band. I remember when someone gave me, for instance, Monkey Island, which was released in the mid-late 70s, I forget. And I remember thinking, there's so much stuff on here. Like, there's doo-woppy stuff on here, there's bluesy stuff. I've always liked Peter Wolf as a vocalist. But I remember thinking, Jay Giles is a really cool band. And then I found out that Peter Wolf was dating Faye Dunaway, and I'm going, he's even cooler than I thought. But yeah, I was surprised I liked Jay Giles. By the time they got really popular with Love Stinks, I didn't like them anymore.
Gennaro, hello Gennaro, greetings from Montreal, Quebec, where yesterday my daughter and I saw George Benson. The house was rocking, and so was my daughter. Melissa Errico was the opening act, and she's also an actress.
Oh, wow.
Wow, sounds good.
I mentioned that, and I went upstairs the other night, and Shannon says, where you been? I says, I've been doing intros and extras. She says, what, for like over an hour? Well, I found that we just put up a Heather Picaro clip of her, you know, growing up Picaro, we called it. And she's like the sweetest thing in the world. You know, she's wearing a little French hat, and she's just really, really a kind, decent human being. And I lost the interview almost 3 years ago, as well as over 30 other interviews. And then we came back to Alberta, plugged it in. I thought, well, I'll give it a shot. And it was in the basement. It was cold. And because they say sometimes do that with a hard drive, freeze it. But it wasn't frozen. And all of a sudden it worked. And I went, I'm going to slowly just take one interview at a time so I don't overload the hard drive. And we got them all. We backed up actually everything on the hard drive.
It's pretty impressive. Robert says, UB40 opening for the Police Synchronicity Tour in Champaign, Illinois.
You thought UB40 blew the police away? Wow.
Tammy C says, I love your shirt.
Thanks.
Transparent Media Truth. Hey, Toad the Wet Sprocket opening for Hootie the Blowfish. Poor Blowfish.
I love Toad the Wet Sprocket. They were on one of the XM Sirius channels today talking about, touring. And I said, there you go. Because sometimes when I'm editing video, I'll listen to XM Sirius when I'm upstairs. And when I'm down here editing video right where Shannon is, I'm watching crime shows all day. Like just, and the funny thing is Shannon gets mad. She's, have you been watching for the last 3 hours the same crime show? Isn't it like 50 minutes if you fast forward the commercials?
I don't know. Are you like getting ideas or something?
Am I getting ideas? No, I love my wife.
Because I do have insurance.
Yeah, she has a lot of insurance on me. What's going on? So what happens is I'll be watching, I pause it, then I'll go through a clip and you know, if there's too much pause, I'll take it out. Some people say, don't take them. I'm going, trust me, you want me to take out a 3-second pause. So I'll do that and I'll find the clip. And then when it's mastering the whole thing, I'll watch my show. And since I have a MacBook and through a lot of your donations, we were able to gut this MacBook and make it a lot faster. And then I watch it again. It takes forever to watch a show. So there.
Phil Stevenson, hey John and Shan, happy Friday. Lenny
Happy
Kravitz,
Friday.
Wembley Stadium, 99, absolutely smoked Aerosmith, who were good, but he was the daddy. 90,000 people singing Let Love Rule, blinding.
Oh my God! Again, Aerosmith. Jeez. Reputation. Remember, I always say this is someone else's business, right? So you don't make up your mind what your reputation is. Aerosmith's reputation on this channel last. Oh, she doesn't care. She's trying to tell Danica, our autistic daughter, to be quiet, but she never listens to your hand.
Never. John Rayleigh. Drive and Crying opened for The Who in 1997 at Lakewood Amphitheater in Atlanta. They were twice as loud as The Who. Blew me away.
Wow, and The Who were famous for being very loud.
Michael Galia. Sorry if I butcher your usernames. Hello, John and Shannon. Billy Bandick. Led Zeppelin's Blowing Away Iron Butterfly comes to mind.
Where is
Led
that?
Zeppelin rocked the concert to the point that Iron Butterfly refused to play.
No kidding.
Ooh.
There's been a lot of a lot of people had problems with Mark Farner saying he blew away Led Zeppelin. He and Grand Funk, Paul and Mel Shacker blew away Led Zeppelin, but and other people say it did happen. And other people, unless you were there.
Mark Hoffman, I was very impressed when Blood Rock opened for Grand Funk.
Yeah, and they were managed by the same guy who ripped them both off, actually.
Mutant Rife in 1978-79, all the bands, AC/DC, Open Cheap Trick, Journey, and BOC, all were better than the headliner, Ted Nugent, in his loincloth.
Oh, Nuge. The Nuge. The Nuge seems a little out there to me, but anyway.
Tammy C. John, I enjoyed your interview with Dennis DeYoung. Actually, all of your interviews.
Oh, thanks. It was a good interview because, as I mentioned before, I've been saying on Friday Night Live, Dennis, if you're listening, I really want to interview you. So he contacted, I think it was Frontier Records at the time, and said that, hey, this John Beaudin guy, I want to because he watched my videos as well. And right off the bat, he says, John Beaudin, I asked for you. He wasn't even doing interviews at the time. And I meant a lot to me because Dennis DeYoung is one of my rock heroes. He was heavily influential in me getting into radio because I was such a Styx fan.
Jake says, hi guys, good to see you again. I'm here to listen to the stories of other music fans.
I think it's refreshing to hear your point of view an awful lot instead of us it's a live video. It should be about what you guys think.
Oh, let's see here.
Cruiser. Is everyone being good?
Cruiser's up support. Yes, Bad Company opened for Edgar Winter supergroup. Rick Derringer, Dan Hartman. First and only time I ever saw a warm-up act do an encore. I think it was 1974 at Maple Leaf Gardens. Well, that's pretty cool.
Think of it.
Huh?
An opening act doing it. I'm pretty sure I've seen it, but I'd have to read my journal. Yeah.
Neil says, hit that like button. These two are a fresh breath of air.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks. And yes, definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Ooh, Lucky Sevens, Alt Rock 8. I don't know if this counts, but Jeff Healey, Stevie Ray Vaughan, and the headliner was Robert Plant, Maple Leaf Gardens, late 80s.
Oh my God. Never saw Robert Plant or Andy Zeppelin. Never ever have. Saw John Bonham, that's as close as I got. Not John Bonham, Jason Bonham. Opening for Heart. Chase, by the way, when I say Chase, he's our son, he's a drummer. Really enjoyed it. And then Chase, before the show, met Ben Smith, who was Heart's drummer, went with Nancy Wilson, and will probably be Heart's drummer again. And I asked him how you get a gig like that. He said, well, the Wilson sisters don't want drama anymore, even though they had a lot of drama together, but they're sisters and it happens. And he'll probably be the drummer for the Heart stuff that's coming out because they're writing again together.
Mark P. Hi, John and Shan. Went to see AC/DC with a White Line opening. Was blown away by White Line.
Really? Wow.
Cool. Fraser J. UB40 blew the police away, but I was too much red wine.
Yeah, you had a little too much red wine. And to their song cover, their cover of Red Wine.
John at Village Advisory. Hey, John. Good day, John and Shan. Survived Taylor Swift ticket sale day here in Melbourne. Sunbury 74 Queen opened for Billy Thorpe and the Aztecs. booed off. Talk about backing wrong horse.
That's another subject that comes up an awful lot, especially from the late '60s, early '70s artists. They'll talk about a bad pairing. There'll be a heavy rock band or a prog band. Kansas, Rich Williams gave me a few. I can't even remember them right now. They're in the series where he said, "Why were we paired with that band? Their audience wouldn't like us at all." LRB too. They were paired with some people that didn't. They were paired with Boston.
Terry Jones, Peter Wolf's solo albums are very, very cool, especially Midnight Souvenirs. He's more of a storyteller instead of a DJ. Always a great, colorful interview.
He's an interesting guy. I always wanted to interview him.
Mutant Rife, I gave up on Aerosmith when they called the fans MRFers at a day on the green in Oakland.
Really? Oh. When we watch American Idol. It's the only real reality show we kind of watch.
Yeah, we liked it.
And when he was a judge, I was just surprised at how soft he was as a judge. He was just like really lightweight as a judge. He was very nice though. I didn't, remember we were thinking, God, Steven Tyler seems like a real good guy. But sometimes someone would be bad. I'd go, why is he saying this? You made it your own.
My Ass is Dragon. That's a nice, interesting name. Another Aerosmith set concert, but Pat Travers opened.
Travers
opened. He did talk much. They just played. I don't know what his lead guitar player was, but both were excellent.
Really? The only concert we went to for that was who didn't talk to the audience?
At all?
Marley.
Oh my goodness! I think he was in his bare feet and never spoke to the audience at all.
He was great though.
He was so good, but it was kind of weird not to have any interaction at all. We're like, oh.
And I just interviewed him that afternoon. I just talked to him like that afternoon. He was just the most pleasant guy. We made jokes about flamenco guitarists wearing fluffy shirts, which every time I talk to Jesse Cook, we make jokes about fluffy shirts. Jesse's the greatest, though. Jesse is such a cool guy to interview.
Elliot Wine. It's Elliot from New York. Hello, Elliot.
Hi.
Happy Friday. Great news about BTO. My friends and I are driving out to Springfield, Mass. for opening night in the U.S. on September 22nd at the Big E Fair.
It should be great. I think that it would have been one of those concerts, because when we were in New Brunswick, Massachusetts was not that far away, that we might have made the trek. I reached out to Coco, who handles much of, I think she's Tal's partner. I'm not sure if she is. So don't quote me on that. But who's Randy's son. But anyway, I reached out to them and said, hey, man, you want to do an interview? Let's talk about BTO. Sure.
Mutant Rife. B-52's booed off stage at COW Cow Palace in middle of first song. Second band was the Runaways, which was the band for the night. Both of these bands replaced Golden Earring.
Wow. And the Runaways weren't back then known as like the greatest musicians in the planet, but they sure made a roar, right? I mean, I was just looking at a picture of Lita Ford the other day. I'm going, Lita looks good.
Phil Stephenson. Hi, Phil. Cardiac supporting Marillion. Nirvana supporting Mudhoney. The Drones supporting Deerhoof. The Strokes supporting Rocket from the Crypt. And REM supporting U2.
Wow.
John at Village Advisory. LRB in Boston must be an Aussie thing to get mismatched.
Yeah, I know that. Well, they worked with John Beaudin, who produced the first Boston album, right? I'm not sure if he worked on Don't Look Back. And I asked Graham Goebel, did you talk about Boston? And he says, well, we're apples and oranges, because he says, I More Than a Feeling was a nice song, but that's not my type of music, he said.
Todd Garland. Hey, Todd. The Jay Giles opened for Heart. Jay Giles stole the show.
Oh, man. Stealing the show from Heart. Heart's so good in concert. Man. Ann Wilson. Crazy.
Robert Lapointe. Good evening, John Chen. Pardon my tardy arrival, but I'm going to be a regular for the live session.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate that. We both do.
Tammy C. I got to see Page and Plant when they got back together and toured.
Next best thing, as they say, right?
John Patterson. Orion the Hunter. Brad Delp.
Orion.
Sorry. Yeah. Brad Delp in brackets opened for a reformed Aerosmith in '84 at Kingswood. Aerosmith was post-rehab and played for 55 minutes. The Hunter played music you could actually understand.
Yeah, Ryan the Hunter were a good band. I like everything that a lot of the ex guys like Barry Goudreau, the stuff he did, Brad Delp. That was really, really good stuff.
Tammy C. AC/DC was the loudest concert I've ever been to. I can only imagine.
Remember, we had a neighbor not far from here, Roxanne, and she just bought a Jeep, a used Jeep, and she says, "Well, it has a hard drive on it." And I said, "Do you want some music?" And she was very kind of shy. Smoked a lot. She was a heavy, heavy smoker, but a sweetheart of a girl. And she says, "Well, I've always wanted to buy a lot of AC/DC." I says, "Well, how much do you want?" She said, "Well, how much you got?" I said, "I've got every AC/DC album digital." And so I loaded her car with every AC. She went nuts. She says, "You got everyone?" "I've got everything." I said, "I got everything from everybody." I was a program director. We, with the other music directors and program directors, would make sure every station had everything. So my NAS downstairs basically has everything, except maybe the last few years.
Janet Lauer, Chicago blew Jimi Hendrix away when I saw them open for him back in '68. Terry Kath was incredible.
Terry Kath, I mean, you have Terry Kath, and, need you say, well, mind you, it is Jimi Hendrix, of course, but Terry, I listened to the live show, the Carnegie Hall show. It's crazy.
Frank, hey Frank, Joe Walsh opened for Wishbone for Wishbone Ash right when he started his solo career from James Gang. Was as good, if not better, than Wishbone Ash.
Wow. Never saw the Eagles and never saw Joe. Joe just declined an interview with us via a close friend, a mutual friend, and really wanted to get him. We're trying to get Timothy B. Schmidt right now. I'm going to reach out to Don Felder again, and maybe some of the Doobies. It'd be nice to get them on.
Elliot says, I once saw the Runaways open for the Ramones in New York City. The show was a tie.
Really?
That would be...
Well, someone was just telling me the other day, they were saying, like, bands like the Runaways, and there's just a few of them that in the beginning, not the Ramones, rather, that, not the greatest musician on earth, but made a huge impact. And I went, yeah, there's a lot of people like that in the music industry. Got anything else?
Willie Boy W. Sea Level blowing away the Outlaws, March 1978.
Oh, wow. Yeah, a lot of folks are enjoying our Henry Paul interview about the Outlaws, about Black Hawk, his other band, the Henry Paul band, talking about Skynyrd a lot, talking about Ronnie Van Zant a lot. We're getting a lot of interesting comments about Ronnie, that some folks were saying he was a tyrant. I'm trying to get Artemis Paul to come on the show, and I think he's the last living guy that was on that plane crash in '77. So that was actually in the band. So not counting backup singers or management, right? So we'll see. We'll see. It'd be nice to have him. He's not a texter, I hear. Artemis, you got to get it. You got to get him on the phone.
I think we're pretty much caught up here.
We're caught up. What time we got?
Oh, Darren says, I saw John Fogerty in late September 2012, and Lucas Nelson and Promise of the Real were the supporting act. Lucas had a ton of energy, and was jumping high in the air a lot. He's also Willie Nelson's son.
It's crazy to have, when you talk to artists and they tell you, I stopped asking the question years ago, long before the YouTube channel, the old, what's it like being up there? It's kind of like asking someone, what's it like when you have a headache? Well, it's not good. It was just such a, what do they say, right? But a lot of artists will give you the information now without asking any semblance of that question. Well, they'll go, I keep doing it because there's no feeling like being up there. I've never felt as alive as I am when I'm up there. Meanwhile, when I'm introducing a band, I don't do it anymore because I'm not on live on radio. Still on radio. Excuse me. Uh-oh. Did you just hit me? She's always slapping me when I yawn.
What the heck?
I can't. It's involuntary. I can't help it. But anyway, they talk about being up there and just feeling alive. I'm not going to yawn anymore. Uh-oh.
You're in the doghouse. New Avatar. Thin Lizzy blew away Queen in 77. Well documented.
She slapped me. And I liked it.
Brian Cox saw U2 warm up for the J. Giles Band in 1982. Both were awesome, but had no idea how big U2 would get.
Unbelievable. I remember when War came out, I remember listening to their first few albums, and I remember thinking there's just something, they're so raw. You know, and they just seem like, to me, I remember calling them, they're just whining about stuff, or they're too political or stuff. But, you know, I still haven't found what I'm looking for was one of my 80s anthems. Probably because I hadn't found you yet. What?
John Patterson. Any chance you could get Bruce
call it
or Tommy
Thayer
post Kiss End of the Road tour?
I don't know. I was going to do a Kiss story today where Gene Simmons has said that he was speechless when Peter Criss and Ace Frehley declined to join them maybe as an encore for their farewell tour, the last few shows, or the last show. I'm not sure how accurate that is. Because sometimes when you hear that, it's kind of like you saying, I'm saying to my, I don't know why my ex-girlfriend doesn't want to talk to me if we've had a terrible relationship. So, you know, maybe they've not had a good relationship. And maybe they don't want to do it, or maybe it's not enough money. That last one might have had something to do with it.
Todd Garland, at the Bumbershoot in Seattle, I saw the Tubes open for Chuck Berry. Guess what year? I think it was 1979.
Oh my God.
That would have been
well, the Tubes were supposed to be at, Chuck Berry was supposed to be at Rock Circus that I saw in Edmonton. Even though I had memories of seeing him, all my friends said, no, he didn't come on stage. And we're going, whoa, I thought I saw him, but I guess he didn't show up.
Neil says, Cumberland Civic Center, Portland, Maine, Scorpios blew away Aerosmith. Didn't help that Steven Tyler passed out.
Oh my God, again. Friday Night Live is ending up being bashing Aerosmith night.
You don't mean to, but it's just...
like over and over again. Oh my God. The last 2 weeks, Aerosmith has come up as in the garbage can. So, yeah, wow. Okay.
Fraser J says, why would a musician turn you down for an interview? Does it have to do with money or politics? Or?
Oh, turn me down? No, it's sometimes they'll look at my other interviews, I'm sure, and they'll go, oh, this guy he's going to ask me those gotcha questions. I hate that term. Yeah. I hate that term.
Gotcha. Oh.
No thanks, Sarah Palin. But that when people say that gotcha questions, I'm going, everyone's looking for a headline, you know, and that I have to look at that. You know, if Chase will edit a video and he'll go, well, if we're talking about an album, track 1, 2, 3, you'll notice that I never say, oh, we're going to talk about bells of whatever from the album. No one's going to click on that, even if it's a brand new album. No one knows the song. No one knows the album. It's hard to get people interested in new music. But if I can ask that person, why did you leave the band? That'll get clicks. And then the second clip in that 8-minute clip will be cut 6 or whatever.
I laughed at this. Record Hound says, welcome to the doghouse, John. Woof.
We're a strange couple. We actually really get along incredibly well. It's a, you know, there's a big spider on our window. Every couple has their stuff, but it's yeah, I don't know what we spend, like, since Shannon quit her job and she's going to be working with me more. But we've done this when we lived in Moncton for 1.5 years. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't know what it is. We were just talking to our neighbors across the street, and Kent, and he and his wife, they work out of the home too, and they're always together. And he works one day every 2 weeks in the office, he told us, and he misses her. He calls her. So maybe they're as dysfunctional as we are. What?
Mark Batitis. Oh, one example of the headliners being blown away was at Nebworth in 1976 when Lynyrd Skynyrd blew away the Stones.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Got to get Artist Pile. Got to get him.
Robert Lapointe, loud, haha. I attended the Boston concert in Memphis, August 78, in the middle of the Memphis fire police strike. They had a feedback problem with one of the amps, kept cracking and the volume drowned out.
Oh my God, that'd be awful, especially with Boston. We had a chance to see Boston and Ontario when we were touring went across the country and visited friends and family, went to the East Coast and went to the West Coast. And when we were in the East Coast, we had a chance through your cousin Sandy. She said, well, let's go see Boston tonight. I went, Brad's not around anymore. You know, Brad Delp, their lead singer. And I went, I don't know if I want to see Boston without Brad Delp. And we didn't go.
New Avatar says Honeymoon Suite opened for Heart 1986.
Oh, wow.
Fit to be tie-dyed. Hey, saw Billy Squire open for Foreigner back in 1981 at Maple Leaf Gardens in TO. Squire definitely upped the energy level.
Wow. You really, you know, I always thought he was going to be a long-time rock and roll guy, and he's come back now. But, you know, I was surprised when he dropped off because of that video, and I didn't think much of it. I thought, you know, he just seemed a little too flamboyant for some rock fans.
Phil Stevenson, I was only 3 at the time, but I imagine for biggest upstaging ever, Jimi Hendrix supporting the Monkees in 1967 takes some beating.
Yeah. Jimi Hendrix, God. You know, there's the Jimi Hendrix, Jim Morrison, Janis Joplin, all like the 27 Club. There's so many of those. You go, I wish it would have been so nice. Janis Joplin. There was a part of me that I always think, I just would have loved to have talked to her, you know?
Elliot says, love your Joey Milan interview. Say No More is being released on vinyl.
Oh, Joey Mullen?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the quality of that interview is really bad. He was so nice to talk to. So if we put any more of that interview up, we're going to have to transcribe it because his accent is thick and he's not on camera. So.
JP Milanos. I saw the Eagles before they hit it big with Yes. And
Oh, wow.
JoJo Gunn in Philly in 1973. Eagles were huge a year later. Great show.
Yeah. Well, Alan Fry tells me, Glenn's brother, he'll tell me now and then the story, and I still talk to him quite a bit, the story of his mother, who's long passed, phoning the radio station and getting them to play Take It Easy. She'd call all the stations, and, you know, this middle-aged woman wanting to hear the Eagles, she was working it, man.
Todd Garland, I should add, thanks for the Mark Farner, Henry Paul, and Justin Hayward interviews. I will stay tuned.
Thank you. Henry's over half done. Justin, I think we've got 3 more clips. I think so. We're going to release the whole thing probably this weekend as well. We have a lot of sorry, Shannon, a lot of long interviews we're going to be putting out. That's why I spent an hour and I think 10, 20 minutes doing intros and extras for full movies. Make sure she... Yeah.
I'm covering.
Yeah.
Fraser J. Guys, when is the new Bobby documentary out? Do you know? I had no idea he was so ill. It's heartbreaking.
Oh, Bobby Kimball. Yeah, he's there and then he's not there. The reason we mention that is because Danica's autistic, and sometimes before she goes to the bathroom, she
runs and she'll pull her pants down.
Yeah, thank you.
That's why my head's here covering this whole hair.
Yeah. And for the life of us, we can't get her to stop it.
Oh,
but in school, she does it. In school, she's really good.
I know. Maybe she's lazy at home.
And when she goes to her day program, and she closes the door because they've taught her to do that.
So I was visiting her. Hey.
Yeah, that's right. I got sunshine.
So everybody, a little bit of a change over here. So everyone is getting ready for the summer, and happy summer to everyone. Mm-hmm. Does anybody have any big plans? You're going away anywhere nice?
Hey, good.
I don't know if you're in someplace really hot right now and you're going to just go to someplace hotter, or if
it's really hot in here right now.
It's super hot in here right now. If you're going to go visit family, what your plans are. But I know we always kind of get together. It's nice to hear what people have planned for.
Where are we doing, honey?
We're going to BC.
British Columbia.
Hope to go to my hometown in Penticton,
which is way hotter,
and then off to the island, hopefully to Vancouver,
to see my older kids.
Yeah, so that's our plan. Things can change at the drop of a dime, but that's what we're hoping.
We always get together at my ex-wife's house, her and her husband, and we get along. Both Shannon and I get along with my ex-wife Lynn very well, and we had one of those great divorces. It was one of those really kind of laid-back divorces that worked out surprisingly well. Even though in the beginning it's a divorce, it's really hard. But that's when her parents met me, they're going, he's divorced, he's got 2 kids, and he's older by almost 11 years. he's going to control her. And now and then we'll laugh at them. We'll say, what did we say, honey? We'll say, you thought someone was going to control her?
What? Me?
Jeez. No, no one controls. We call her Shanti. No one controls Shanti.
Johnny Too Bad. My very first rock concert I ever attended in 1970 was Cold Blood opening for Iron Butterfly. I can't really listen to Iron Butterfly anymore, but I love that Cold Blood performance and still love the LP.
It's amazing sometimes. I think sometimes opening act too it's the first. I think there's sort of there's sort of an advantage for some opening acts. If they open good, like that's the first thing you hear in that concert that night. But I'm not saying that's the case for anybody who said this tonight. But
Tammy C, I was lucky enough to see the Eagles on the Hell Freezes Over tour. It was amazing.
Oh, so you saw him with Don Felder. Wow, that's cool.
A Record Hound is giving you a tech note for you. A 60 hertz or 120 hertz notch filter on your computer might help remove buzz from a recording.
Oh, okay. I still have those 4 interviews. Andrew Gold, Ravi Shankar, Michael Schenker, Ravi Shankar. Andrew Gold, Dan Peek, and Dave Brubeck. So, yeah, they all have. Wait a minute. So Dan Peek's dead, Andrew Gold's dead, Ravi Shankar's dead, Dave Brubeck's dead. Maybe it's a death thing. They're all dead.
Fit to be tie-dyed. Was thinking that with the BTO reunion and all the Guess Who tracks they've announced, would it be cool if Burton Cummings joined them?
I don't think he wants to. I really don't think he would. When we saw him, he almost sold out the place. I don't think he has to do that, to join a band that he wasn't part of. Because I know he's against, it seems like Brandy and Burton are against Gary Peterson and their lead singer, Derek Sharp, doing the Guess Who thing. I'm pretty sure they didn't go out, they didn't say that. And Gary didn't say one bad thing about Randy during the interview, but I think that's probably why they can't play Canada. I think that's why.
Mark P. I saw Aerosmith twice. Once they were still using, and the second time when they were clean. The difference was night and day.
Really, yeah. Not surprised. Oh, look at us. Look at the time.
Ooh, Tammy C says it's a cool day in Texas. It's 100.
Oh, wow.
It's a cool day.
Yeah.
A new avatar. Wow, Vancouver people struggling on the streets. Let's hope and pray for them.
The Vancouver people?
Yeah, just we're talking about going to Vancouver to visit.
Oh, when we went to Vancouver, the last time we were there for the Toto show as well. And walking around Vancouver, even though it's strange, we went to visit my radio station. No one knows me there because I haven't been in the building.
Yeah, but if you had like 3 or 4 people that knew who you were.
Well, no, Olivia was there and the program director, but they're all gone
and I think the people that knew who you were are gone. So.
Well, radio rotates a lot. Olivia's not. Olivia was our midday person, and she was just fantastic midday person. But she took a year off, and I think she's probably going to get back at it.
Ruben Kincaid, Tesla opening for Poison was a real mismatch. Had to leave during the aggressively awful Poison set.
Oh, wow. Yeah, those kind of big hair 80s bands, I don't know if I've ever seen any, not even Bon Jovi. Bon Jovi was a little bit more pop than all those other ones, but yeah, we're going to wrap things up.
We are.
We have to go get Shannon some Nespresso coffee. Nespresso. No, I'm not doing a commercial.
I think we might go to the mall tonight where it's nice and air conditioned.
Air conditioned. This is the first house in a few houses where we don't have air conditioning. Not yet. Yeah.
Thank you everyone for joining us. Always appreciate it.
I just had a brain fart there. I went to some place, like I don't know where it was. There was a snake wearing a red hat.
Maybe you need a coffee.
Okay, I need a coffee.
Thank you so much for joining us.
And a dog named Boom Boom. No, I'm just joking.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. We love you guys.
We look forward to next Friday. Remember,
in the description, if you can join our Facebook page, that would be really good because I didn't realize till like a few weeks ago that I need 10,000 followers to make any money on Facebook. And we're going, but our videos are doing so well. And I'm going, okay, well, that's what we need to do. So We're on TikTok. We're on Instagram. We're on YouTube and Facebook. And we're going to start putting different content on each one of them. So please join.
Record Hound, happy Canada Day this weekend. Thank you.
Tomorrow.
Cheers, guys. Another epic show.
We're going to go on the Canadian channel tomorrow and talk about the best Canadian bands of all time, probably. Unless Celebration gets in the way. We were going to do this last year, remember? We were going to do a best Canadian thing, and we didn't do it last year. We went, well, we got invited to a party.
We did.
Oh, God, yeah. Anyway, so we went, okay, well, I guess we'll do it next year.
And thanks, James. Hope tomorrow finds life loving you. Appreciate that.
Okay, thanks, guys.
Okay, bye.
Take good care. Happy weekend, happy Friday. I'm not going to hallucinate with snakes with red hair and cap. Bye.